We all know Disney has hopped on this trend of recreating their animated classics into live-action movies. A trend that I, an animator, should hate, but to be frank, I really enjoy. Some of the movies have been a hit, some of them not so much. I'm looking at you, The Lion King 2019. But I figured it would be really fun to take some of the new live-action character designs and draw them in the style of the original animated movie. And this trend actually started a long time ago, because if you think about it, the 1992 101 Dalmatians, it's already a remake of the 1961 101 Dalmatians. So far we've had around 15 or 16 live action remakes, and there's a few more coming. But anyway, my plan is to take a frame from the original movie, and then I'm gonna redraw that character with the design of the new one in the style of the old one. That made sense. Today we're doing Emma Stone's young Cruella in the 101 Dalmatian style, to the Mad Hatter from 2012 Alice in Wonderland in the 1951 style. I love this character design, it's so cool. The Genie, aka Will Smith, from Aladdin 2019 in the style of Aladdin 1992. And the super controversial Halle Bailey as Ariel from the upcoming 2023 Little Mermaid remake in the style of the 1992 Little Mermaid movie. And as a true Little Mermaid fan, I'm gonna reserve my opinions and comments until we get to her. Let's start with Cruella. I found this film to be very refreshing actually. Emma Stone really surprised me. I was a little bit hesitant when they casted her, but her performance was great. I definitely think she really captured the character. The original movie was a little bit boring to me, but I mean, it was a different time and film language has evolved a lot since the 1960s, so it's expected to be very slow paced. However, Cruella, the character, was still iconic. This is the frame we're going to use when we first see her when she opens the door getting into Anita's and Roger's house. So let's put a white overlay on top and let's get to drawing. Let's start with the face, obviously, and looking at this, I think the bone structure is fairly similar. Emma has big cheekbones, but maybe a less elongated face than the original cartoon. Let's make the silhouette of the hair very dramatic, and we need to make the eyes big and blue. I'm gonna give her a smile like the one from this reference here. Regarding the outfit, let's go for something like this. I really like the puffy sleeves here. And I want to add a very pointy and dramatic color. And fun fact, actually, you see how the original Cruella is like smoking these like long cigarettes? Basically, Disney has banned any type of smoking in their movies, so this new Cruella couldn't smoke at all, and no one in the film did, I think. So instead of the big pipe, I'm guessing they needed to give her a prop, and that's how this cane came to be. And now looking at this outfit again, it's a little bit boring, so I'm gonna combine the other outfit we had with this one here. Now let's remove the original Cruella from the background, just like magic. Let's give this Cruella some really cool edgy boots, and now we can get to inking. This particular movie didn't have the cleanest lines, and honestly, they made us a favor with that, because we can get away with some sort of sloppy-ish inking. So I'm gonna use this pencil brush here, and this is pretty straightforward. So let's get it over with quickly. And now let's add some color. Let's make her eyes blue, let's add her dramatic smoky eye. And to spice things up a little bit more, I want to give Cruella some spots on this bottom part of the dress. And if this design were actually to be animated, the animators would probably want to kill me. But now that I think about it, they gave all these dogs spots. So what's a few more spots on Cruella? And here's our new Cruella. Here you have the side by side, and I'm gonna be really cocky and really honest right now. I like this new Cruella way better than the original one. She looks slick, she looks edgy, she looks cool, she looks punk. We deserve a movie with this character. Let me know in the comments if you agree, and we can move on to the next one. I watched this movie when it came out in 2010 in the theaters. Honestly, back then I had no clue that I was gonna pursue an animation career. Looking at it now, this movie has so many details and it's like beautifully designed. I mean, it's Tim Burton, so we wouldn't expect any less, but still it's like insane. I do remember people saying how groundbreaking it was. These special effects are 12 years old already, so yes, impressive. And now looking at the original one, I will say I'm also very impressed. I mean, this was 70 years ago. Let that sink in. 70 years ago. Anyway, let's start with the Mad Hatter. Here's the frame I'm gonna use. and this is the equivalent of that scene on the remake. They really changed the personalities of the characters here. This one has so many good characters we could do, but I'm just gonna do the Mad Hatter for now. This one's gonna be a bit trickier because the proportions of these two characters are very different, like extremely different overall. I am struggling with making Johnny Depp's angular features fit in the style of this animation, but I think this will do for the face. When it comes to the body, I really want to make sure it feels like he's invading Alice's personal space. So here's the rough, and now it's time for cleanup. I'm gonna use the same brush I used for Cruella. All those animations back then were actually cleaned by hand with a pencil, so they sort of have the same vibe. So let's quickly ink this. And now let's add color. This design of the Mad Hatter is so colorful. Sadly, we cannot go crazy with colors because if you look at the rest of the lineup, they all have a very limited palette. And if we go crazy with our Mad Hatter, he will not belong. And the point of all this is for him to coexist with the rest of the characters. So I'm gonna try to do a happy medium where I do enough colors for him to look really cool, but not so many that he looks out of place. And finally, I want to add some eyeshadow and some blush. Yes, blush. The animators would hate me, but listen, Snow White had blush, and that was the very first animated feature film ever, 24 years earlier. So if Snow White had blush, he can have blush. And also lashes. Alice has lashes, so yeah, let's give that to him. Alright, and here is the final Mad Hatter. I think it turned out pretty well. Look at the two frames side by side. This was a very complicated situation because the style of the original movie was very round, you know, and then this character, like Johnny Depp, has very sharp and angled features. So I had to do this blend without compromising too much. So I think it turned out pretty well. Oh, and I added a little feather and arrow to the hat because I thought that would be a really cute detail. Anyway, next. And now we have the Genie from Aladdin. So this remake, I might have a very controversial opinion. I really enjoyed it. Back then there was also backlash with Will Smith playing the Genie. I even feel this was a lot more controversial than the Little Mermaid because people were in love with the actual actor. People were not like attached to the design of the character. They were attached to the heart of the character, which is a completely different thing. But again, we're covering the whole Ariel situation when we get to her. But I would like to say that this movie did what it needed to do. If you watched the Never Had a Friend Like Me music number, it is great. That's what these live action movies should be doing. Taking the animation to the next level, messing up with reality, breaking rules, putting all the details you cannot put in when you have a 2D animation. This here did what I Just Can't Wait to Be King did not. But that rant is for another video. This is the frame we're going to be doing. I intend to keep the pose very similar. So let's start by turning the Genie's face into Will Smith. The head is more rounded. Eyes are smaller and further apart, and the nose is round as well. And we're also going to make him a bit more stocky. I will also add the patterns he has here. They're a little bit too abstract for me to dissect, but I'm gonna try to keep the essence of them. Now let's add some jewels on the bracelets and belt. I'm gonna ink this blue right away. This line definitely takes more love and time than the other ones we did because you really need to go in and add that weight to each line and that tapering and da-da-da-da-da-da. But yes, we're doing it for him. So Will Smith, if you're watching, yes, I'm putting all this love and effort just for you. Let's quickly add some color and also color the line art as we go. And he has a soft shadow. This is the only character today that has a shadow, so let's add that in. Let's make the arm design pop more and add the glow the Genie has. And I do like the sparkles the live action tail has, so I'm gonna add some sparkles to this one here. And here is the final. I think he does look like Will Smith. I'm pretty happy with this one, and again, Will Smith to me did a great job as the Genie. I do think he added his own twist to it and his own flavor, and taking it back to the movie, I do like the ending. I think it made the Genie a more dimensional character, and so did Jasmine. It's such a cute ending. You have to watch it if you haven't. But now here in this channel, it's time for the controversy. But before that, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And now let's get to the juicy part. So, I love The Little Mermaid. I love Part of Your World. And let me tell you something. When I saw the trailer with Halle Bailey, I was obsessed. Ha! If you thought I was gonna be against this, like, think again. No, like, she did such a good job and I am so excited for her to be Ariel. Her being black has nothing to do with the character or with the story. If they had changed Mulan, that's another thing. Because her ethnicity does play a role in the story, I would have been very upset. I would have been the first one saying, no, they cannot do that. But this is not the case here. I know she's supposed to be from Denmark or something, but let's be real, like, when you think beaches and oceans and like under the sea, that whole montage, it is not like up there really cold. No, you're thinking full-on Caribbean. And under the sea, it's Caribbean. Like those melodies, those instruments, it's full-on Caribbean. So yeah, Halle Bailey makes sense as Ariel. Anyway, let's do the drawing. This is the frame we're doing. I want to keep the same pose, but I want to make the tail longer with the new design. Now let's change her face, make the eyes more almond and further apart so it looks more like Halle. Now it's time to add the dreads. I really love how they did them. I think it was a great adaptation to the hair. Let's quickly ink it and add some color. And I will say that I wanted to do Ursula too, but we have not seen how she's going to look yet. I'm very eager to see that. It's going to be played by Melissa McCarthy. So maybe we could do a part 2 with Ursula and a few more characters. So let me know if you would like that in the comments. And finally, to make the fins a little bit more translucent, they made the line art for those lighter instead of darker. And here is our final Halle Bailey as cartoon Ariel. Listen, if you are one of those upset about this casting, give her a chance. I think she deserves a chance and I think she's gonna do a great job. I watched the full Part of Your World sequence that leaked on Twitter and listen, I got chills and cried. Anyway, here are our 4 characters of today. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite and also what are your thoughts about Ariel, this new Ariel. And I will see you in the next one.